Do the McGill Big 3 work? In this tutorial, we're going to explore the exercises and what they are used for, but also what people think they should be used for, which can sometimes get a little bit lost in translation and mistaken. So come with me on this little journey where we're going to explore these exercises and find out what they're really doing. If you are struggling with lower back pain, you do need some help, click the link below, go through to my How to Overcome Lower Back Pain online and face-to-face consultations where we can get together, build you a rehab plan and help you overcome your lower back pain over time. So part one, what are the McGill Big 3? Well, the main exercise that most people know is the bird dog. So going into that position, mainly for the posterior chain of muscles, the glutes, the lats, longissimus, iliocostalis, thoracolumbar fascia. That's that exercise. The second exercise is the side plank. For more the lateral musculature, possibly a bit of glute medius, glute minimus as well, but holding in this position. Third exercise is the modified curl up. In this position, not like a curl up where we round the lower back, but we maintain position of the lower back, so we can just use the hand for that and just lift the shoulder blades up. And then we hold this position. So we feel the abdominals, so this is more for the anterior musculature. So those are the three exercises. Now, what most people think they do is they think that they help them reduce pain. And indirectly, and in some respects, yes they do, but it's not as simple as if you do these three exercises, you will reduce your lower back pain. It depends on a few things. So what we're going to do in the next part is talk about that a little bit more. So what do people think these three exercises are going to do? Well, the first thing is reduce their lower back pain. So if we do the bird dog, and if we get these muscles stronger down the back, is that this extra strength will reduce lower back pain. Now, in some respects, that is true, but what we have to understand is we have to remove the pain trigger for these exercises to work, because you will always have an underlying trigger. Now, what do I mean by trigger? Now, if you sit at your desk and you're sat there for 15-20 minutes and then all this just starts tightening up around your lower back and it all just gets very painful, you may get some benefit from doing these exercises, but it's not necessarily going to reduce your pain and eliminate your pain. We have to address the sitting at the desk first and remove that trigger, because it could be the flexion of the spine that could be driving it. It could be the duration of the sitting that could be driving it. So we have to understand that first before we can start putting these exercises in place. Because what a lot of people think is that an increase in strength of a muscle reduces pain. That's not necessarily true. In some instances, it may work, but in other instances, it may not work. So we have to understand that first. So first of all, we have to either eliminate the trigger, minimize the trigger, and just reduce it, so we can get that pain out the way. What we can then start to do is then start to use these exercises as they are meant to be used. And in part 3, we will talk about that. So what do the McGill Big 3 actually do? Well, there's two essential things that they're there to do. One is to activate the muscles. So they activate the musculature all around the core, the posterior, the lateral and the anterior, as I mentioned. So you've got the posterior here, you've got the lateral here on the lower side, and obviously when I turn around on the other side, and then you've got the anterior here. So it activates those muscles. Now what that is there to do, that is there to stabilize the spine, because what the muscles do is you've got the pelvis underneath you, then you've got 5 lumbar vertebrae that sit on top of it. All the muscles will join in to those 5 vertebrae. Because there are no rib cage to hold them in place, it comes down to the muscles of the core to hold it all in place. So they offer that stability to hold it all in place. So for example, if there is a little bit of a micro movement, because there's some laxity in the disc, if there's a little bit of a micro movement, when the muscles are activated, it will hold that in place. And there will be like a residual activation. So obviously when you do the exercise, you will activate it. So when I come into a side plank, these muscles are active, I can feel them. Once you've done maybe a couple of sets of that, there will be an elongated activation. So when you go back to sitting in your car, sitting at your desk, going for a walk, whatever it may be, it will maintain a degree of activation. If you are then contracting your core, it will already be on a little bit, and then it will encourage you to do a little bit more. So it will have activation there to stabilize the spine. So we haven't talked about reducing the pain. It may indirectly reduce the pain because the muscles are active, holding the spine in place. But if we've been sat down and we're in pain, what it's not necessarily going to do is when we activate it, it's then going to take the pain away. That's not what it's there to do. It's there to stabilize the spine, and then it can indirectly reduce the pain afterwards. But it depends, and this is the important bit, it depends on the type of back pain or the type of triggers that you have, whether this is going to work or whether it's not going to work. It will depend on the condition of your back and your triggers. So we have to understand that. The second thing that they do on a more, let's just say, performance related aspect of it. So if we take walking, for example, when we walk, we lift a leg up. So if you put your hands on your torso, you'll feel, as you walk, different parts of your musculature sort of turning on and turning off, or lighting up and dampening down, because they won't be on and off. It's sort of a lighting up and a dampening down. So you'll feel that. So what that then happens, when you've activated the muscles and it's stabilizing the spine, it will offer you, let's just say, greater power, if you will. So if you take that into a sporting environment, at the extreme end of it, it will help you because of the sort of minimum activation level has been raised from doing the exercise. It will then heighten the performance and the punch or the kick that you're about to do. So it will sort of just heighten that activation a little bit more. So the punch in the power in the punch or the kick will be extended as well, or heightened up as well. So that's what the McGill Big 3 actually do. If you're in pain, they aren't going to reduce that pain. But what they will do is activate the muscles to stabilize the spine, to then sort of bring that down. And on the other end of the spectrum, or in the middle of that, when you're walking, it'll allow you to walk more effectively because the muscles will be more active. And then at the other end of the scale, as I mentioned, it will help you develop more power, kicking and punching. But that's something for a different tutorial. But that can also come from other exercises as well. So that's how we have to think about the McGill Big 3. So do they work? Yes, they do. But only if you use them in the right context. Because if you use them to try and reduce pain, there's a good chance they may not do that. They may work for the right type of back pain, but they may not. That all depends. So do they work? Yes. But can they not work? Yes as well. It depends. So many thanks for watching. Hopefully this tutorial has been helpful. Hopefully you've learned something new. Hopefully you understand the McGill Big 3 a little bit better. If you've enjoyed this content, hit the like button. If you've learned something new, hit the thanks button. If you've got a question or a comment, leave it in the comment section below. And if you want to watch more of these, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon.